DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Running Your DJ Business with KC and Brian B.
What is up, Brian? How you feeling?
Good. How are you, KC?
Good. Summer is here. It is officially warm. Pools are open. It's an exciting time.
That is true. That is true. I'm in Florida today, and it is...
Oh, it's always sunny and warm there.
Scorching hot and humid. I'm sure our guest, who I think Maria, this is our guest, everybody. If you haven't figured it out, that is the Maria that was on the flyer, and you are in
not
Florida.
John Young.
Yeah,
it's not John Young.
Are you in Florida too?
I am in Florida, St. Petersburg.
Okay, which is about, I think, like 6 hours from me. So, but it's humid there too, right?
It's so humid. Yes. Getting into summer here. Stepping
right. Yeah. Oh man. And in New York, it was like all over the place this last week. It was hot, then cold, then rainy. I'm like, what is happening? It's Jekyll and Hyde weather over there. So it's been nuts. But
now that's St. Petersburg's pretty close to Tarpon Springs, right?
It is. Yes.
I have an uncle in Tarpon Springs.
Okay.
So yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So we met Maria at Midwest DJs Live, the show that is in Milwaukee, and she was one of the keynote speakers. And then I got lucky enough to spin with Maria at one of the parties, which was really cool. And then randomly enough, we are going to the airport, just kind of going back to our respective places. And I get on the flight. I'm sitting in one seat, and next thing I know, she comes up and she's literally in the next seat. We didn't book the same ticket. I don't even know what happened. It was just random.
It's called stalking, Brian.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Stop it.
That's what it was. So we got sat right next to each other, and it was awesome because we got a chance just to connect because I mean, at those shows, it goes so fast. We're all like doing our thing, and so it was really cool to get a chance to actually like hear her story and all of that, which we're going to get to some of that, I'm sure, tonight. And it was awesome. So that's kind of my, introduction to Maria as far as getting to know her through just the last, really like 2 months, I think it's been. So it's been nuts. It's been good.
So, Maria, so tell us, how did you get into the business? Like, we all have a story. So how did you decide that disc jockey was of interest to you?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because growing up, I was always making mixtapes. And I think many of us did that, right? Like cassette tapes, recording,
showing your age.
Radio, stopping, rewinding. Yeah. And then I started putting together playlists. So I started playing around with music and combinations of music well before I started DJing. What happened for me is I was actually speaking at a conference where they forgot to book evening entertainment. And I was already speaking at the event, and they were like, hey, to my friend Nick and I, can you guys DJ or something? Like, play music. We need some kind of music for the social gathering. And so my friend Nick had done it before. I hadn't. And he was like, sure, no problem. Hey, Maria, you want to DJ? And I was like, yes, like that sounds interesting. And as soon as we started, I discovered I loved it. So then Nick found us a standing gig in St. Pete, Florida in the Warehouse District. We started DJing open mic nights. Then I was speaking at a conference in Singapore, saw the conference coordinators for an event in Munich, Germany 2 weeks later. I was like, you guys are going to get a kick out of this. Look at this. I started DJing at these events, and they were like, no kidding. Do you want to DJ in Munich? I was like, yes, like don't play. And so Nick had all of our gear in Florida. So I actually went out and bought brand new gear, headphones, everything, and went to DJ at that event. And the rest is history. I started DJing as I travel around the world, from Fiji to New Zealand, from Thailand to India, all throughout the US, Caribbean on a cruise ship. So I just travel with my gear and DJ everywhere I go because I love it.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then did you learn how to mix on your own? Like, if you had like a dance background where feeling a beat was natural, did you play an instrument? Because programming you pick up along the way, but it's usually the ones and the twos and just learning your bridges, your breaks, and everything else. So how did you go from there?
Yeah, so the way that I learned to refine my skills was actually through the mentorship of other DJs. So my friend Nick taught me at the beginning, and then his buddy Earn Money, he taught Nick how to
earn money.
Earn money. DJ Earn Money.
Earn money.
It's not a bad name.
Wow.
So he actually, I joke that he's my granddaddy DJ because he taught the DJ that taught me how to DJ. So he should. Then I had a privilege. I met DJ FNA in Las Vegas, and he's toured with 3-6 Mafia for 4 years. And so I was like, hey man, have you ever thought about touring on your own instead of just with them? And I was already traveling to speak at some conferences and lead some training classes. I was like, do you want to go on tour and let's DJ along the trip? So we did a 30 days around the world from Fiji to Shanghai, Singapore, Thailand, India, and back to the US. And he taught me so much. From the beginning of that tour to the end, my skill level just went way up. There's another DJ, Nick Z from New York City, and he helped me refine my beat matching. So I picked up like a little bit here and there. Chris Beasley in Florida and Tampa, he's been helping me with my transition. So everywhere I go, every time I meet a DJ, I'm like, hey, what can I learn? Because I want to be able to enhance my skill every time. So it's been a little bit along the way from a variety of people.
If you need help, I can get you from play that funky music into Brick House. My specialty. That's
Wonderful.
it. Me and every wedding DJ ever. So that's it. So your what percentage of your business is, let's say, bars and clubs and festivals versus private party special event DJing?
I'd say it's a pretty even mix. Because I've been in the conference circuit for so long speaking. Now that people hear that I can DJ, they invite me to DJ as well. So for the conference party. So I've got an event coming up that's 1,000-person event. Just last year was speaking and DJing in Singapore, Thailand at these different events. And then I also have been DJing a lot more. I'm trying to stay a little bit local. I traveled through 82 cities last year in 15 countries. Which is a little bit much. So I'm trying to travel a little bit less. And so I've been DJing a lot more at the clubs and some of like the beach spots here in Florida. So Clearwater Beach, St. Pete Beach, and downtown.
Yeah, my uncle's like 86. I'll send him out there to fist pump with you.
Yeah, right?
Get it up.
You know, Florida is such an interesting market because you have like an older generation, right? That's retired here. You have tourists and you got college kids. So it's a little bit of, you got to read the crowd and kind of please everybody. So we go from Prince to a little bit of some of that Swali, right? So we're kind of going the whole gamut here.
Okay. Very good. Very good indeed. So let's jump into some of our topics for tonight. So there's a certain I don't want to call it serendipity, but it's topical. Last month, I just wrote an article called "Think Before You Facebook," and it was all about how you can't separate who you are personally to who you are professionally. And apparently Roseanne Barr never read it because, as you know, because it's like the biggest thing trending on social media, not to mention on the entertainment circuit, Roseanne Barr tweeted an inappropriate, racist comment about a former aide to Barack Obama, and has since seen the fallout from it. And it just goes back to what I wrote in there, which is, you know, and I forgot who, maybe it was John Murphy who said to Mike Walter that even when you're not in the limelight, you're still on stage all the time. And social media is no different. So what you post, how you post, you know, things along those lines, even in your personal life, is very much so. People are looking at it, you know, people are seeing it, and that's that. And Roseanne Barr is a perfect example of, she had the #1 show on ABC for this past season, averaging 10 million viewers every, I don't know, was it Wednesday night, something like that? I watched it on demand, and fired like their #1 star, their biggest star on ABC. their number one show, bigger than Dancing with the Stars, bigger than American Idol, bigger than a lot of these historical blockbusters, the reboot. And did either one of you watch it?
I did not catch it.
Okay, I binge watched it. I watched the first episode and I binge watched it in the background. And I have to say, it was extremely well written. They showed both the liberal and conservative side of things by having different members of the family have different viewpoints. And I thought it was so well written to see how middle America or blue collar America reacts to what's happening in the world today. And then she went and blew it up. And so again, for those of you that are tuning in, you got to watch what you say. You got to watch your comments. And me personally, I think we're a little bit overly sensitive right now. It's still, even if that's the case, it doesn't mean that you still shouldn't have good taste and be respectful. And by all means, I don't have any tolerance for racism and sexism or anything along those lines. So that was that. You guys have any opinions on it, or?
I'll let you go.
One of the things that I've always thought, because I've worked a lot in corporate America doing consulting for businesses during the day, and I've always thought, you have to be careful about the things you put online. So for me, building a brand, I've always thought double, triple, quadruple times before I post something, because I think brand is everything. Brand is so important. And especially with the internet today and how instant stuff is, you have to think about that stuff. So I have a friend who actually was a DJ that had posted something online just as a joke. And if you heard him say it in real life, you probably wouldn't have thought anything of it. And when he told me what the phrase was, I didn't even think it was that bad. But he said he got blacklisted from DJing at different spots because people thought it was offensive. And so I think that we're in an age where you can't just say anything at any time. We have to think about that implication.
Well, even with what's going on with the accusations toward Morgan Freeman and what's happened with Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein being arrested, everybody said, even when you're talking about, even when you're joking to perhaps somebody of the opposite sex or what have you, if you couldn't say what you say with, and that's what I said, Your Honor, and feel comfortable about it, then go for it. And again, I think a lot of it, listen, we deal with wedding couples every single day that are uberly sensitive, that are nervous, I shouldn't say uberly sensitive, that's the wrong, it's poor choice of words. They are, they're nervous, they're excited, they've got their apprehensions, is everything going to go right and everything else. So I think that you're being watched, and especially in today's day and age with online reviews everywhere, that you really need to watch your P's and Q's, both in your personal life and in your professional life. So, agreed?
Yes. And I really like that. That's what I said, Your Honor. That's a nice check for people, because we tell people don't say certain things, but there's really not a guideline. So that's a nice tip. If you can add that to the end and be comfortable with it, you're good.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think if she would have sincerely apologized, it may have been different? Or do you think that it's just done?
I think that one was kind of, I wouldn't say more than what is the line, but that was so far over. I think that it's just, she was already controversial as it was.
Right.
That I think that kind of just lit a fuse that was going to be tough to stop at that point.
Well, the host of the TV show, The Opposition, he had kind of the funniest joke about it that you could joke about. He said, I don't know why everyone's shocked by this. Roseanne Barr's been tweeting racial things since forever. And like, when I saw him, he delivered it much better than me, but it was funny because, to a degree, it's kind of like our president. Like, some people are always shocked by what he's saying, but people knew what people who voted for him knew what they were getting when they voted for him. And again, it's in this and how it pertains to us as wedding professionals in the online world, like, our brand is our identity. So, and even take away the politics and your jokes or whatever, today's millennial bride is definitely taking the time to research you not only online, but on your social media. And so if you haven't posted on your social media platforms in some time, you look like you just don't care about your business the same way. So you'd be better off not having, an Instagram than have something that hasn't been touched in 6 months. So.
And I would add to this too, if you are just starting to build a brand, let's say you're a new DJ and you're starting this thing off, go back and look at what you've written, because people will go back just like you see now, where people go back and look at someone wrote 5 years ago. Sure. And they're going to pull out any little thing, maybe not to the extent that they do with celebrities, but still like anything questionable, just take it off, because it could, not necessarily lead to the demise that it did for her, but definitely affect someone's, ability to possibly book you or whatever.
Right. And then you've got Facebook that automatically brings up your memories from 5 years ago. And,
right.
I, as a proud uncle, share my pictures of my nephew and my niece because I just had a picture pop up from them like 5 years ago. I took them to the Cubs game, and my niece feels like she's 8 feet tall and should be walking a runway in Milan because she's so tall and thin. And my nephew is a 17-year-old kid that's taken on the world, and they're not my little buddies anymore. So it's just different. So, but the concept of this racism and sexism leads me to my next thing, which is under no circumstances do I think anything was necessarily done wrong. But if you guys are friends with Marcello Pedalino, he did his 3rd or 4th annual gentleman's lunch afternoon or afternoon luncheon. And he invited a lot of his specifically male DJ friends, where he said in his thing that they were celebrating fatherhood, they were celebrating entrepreneurism, and that it wasn't designed to be necessarily what's the word? They weren't looking to exclude anyone. It's just how everything kind of went. And a former disc jockey, Stacy Zeman, who wrote the book, the DJ Handbook, I think is what it was called, made a comment on one of the group photographs about how this is just an example of how women aren't respected within the industry. And of course, all of the men pounced on her. But what was interesting was a lot of women came on and said Tara Feely came on and Jody Harris came on, and they all said, you know what, we don't feel that way. So we feel that we have the same opportunities that every man does, and it's based on our talents. So Maria, you being a female DJ, you tell me your personal experience with what it's like to be a woman within this industry.
Yeah, that topic. So it's really interesting to be a female in a male-dominated industry. But what's most interesting for me is this isn't my first time around at that. My first time as a female in a male-dominated industry is actually in the IT project management industry. So my background's in IT project management consulting, and I've actually worked very diligently over the last decade to build myself up to be someone that's respected in an industry that's mostly guys. And coming through this loop again in the DJ world, yeah, it's mostly guys, and it's a lot familiar, right? So there's some pros and there's some cons to being a female. As for that particular situation, if the guys wanted to get dressed up all dapper and have a gentleman's night out, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right. I'm not sure how many females they even know that we're DJs that they could have invited. It sounds to me like, girls have a girls' night out all the time. So I'm not personally insulted by that the guys had a guys' night out as DJs. That's all right. But as a female, there's definitely, I won't deny that there's probably some perks, right? But there's also some prejudice, and people look at you and they think that you don't have any skills because you're a girl, right? So it does happen. So I've had people where I'm sure I've gotten an opportunity that maybe a guy wouldn't have because I smiled and someone wanted to give me a chance, right? Okay. But I had to back it up. That's the thing that people miss. So I've had people that are like, oh, probably can't DJ because she's a female. It's like, all right, that's interesting. That's a very small-minded view to have. because
Right.
I work with a lot of guy DJs that I've said, hey, teach me, because I want to be able to have the skill to back it up.
Right.
So you get like some pros, some cons. So yeah, maybe I can get into a new circle just by being a female. Maybe that does open some doors, but as many doors as that opens, I think there's just the same amount of doors that are closed, because people just judge you thinking, well, I've seen a female DJ before that couldn't DJ, so I'm sure you can't either. And
Right.
then
Her name is Paris Hilton.
and then you have twice the effort to prove yourself. You have to put in twice the effort to prove yourself. So I think there's some ups and downs, and it's the same thing I experienced doing IT project management consulting. It's you got a whole bunch of software developers that they're like, well, there's no way you could know this process methodology because, well, I mean, it's a pretty face. Well, if you actually put time into it, which I do to perfect my crafts, I'm going to develop my skills. So I personally think one of the most ignorant things that I've encountered was some guy trying to talk trash about me saying, oh, Maria can't DJ, because when I was first starting out, he didn't see me DJ. So he just assumed that I couldn't. And it's like 2 years later, it's like, dude, you don't think I've been doing anything in those last 2 years? Like,
Right.
Of course I've been enhancing my skills. So sometimes people, they want to judge you and they don't want to give you a chance. And that's unfortunate. But
Right.
I still think it's on me to show my skill. It's on me to demonstrate that I have that capability, which is in my control. I can't control people's opinions of me, but I can show them that I can back it up, right?
Mm-hmm. What do you think the average wedding couple, if given the choice of a female DJ, let's just say with the exact same skills as a male, do you think it would matter to most wedding couples? Like if it was you and Brian, international touring DJs, according to Midwest DJs Live, you both spun, you guys are both great. Do you think that the mainstream America would pick one over another?
I think, I'll just answer this one, Brian. I think that for a wedding day, it's like the bride's show, right?
Right.
And I think they might want a guy DJ just because there's no one else competing with them. And I get that. And that is something that I would understand. I've actually had an opportunity where someone wanted to book me for a surprise birthday party. And the guy wanted to do it for his girlfriend or fiance or wife. And I thought that we had agreed to it, the date and everything. And then he messaged me the next day and he's like, I'm so sorry, but can I get a refund? Because I thought that she would like this idea and she didn't. And I'm wondering, did she see my photo and think that I was going to upstage her? Is that a thing? It could be. So, I mean, as far as a wedding goes, yeah, maybe that's better for a guy so that the bride might say, this is my day. I don't want any other female there. It's kind of in the spotlight. I could understand.
That's why I wasn't invited to the gentleman's luncheon, because I'm the best looking guy in the room. Wearing shorts and flip-flops. So for me.
But I think there's other venues that might be more appropriate or inviting for a female DJ, right? So if there's a girl that says, hey, I'm getting married and I want it to be my day, and she doesn't want a bunch of other, females around, that's okay. That's her day. That's her decision. 100%. I think a wedding is the couple's decision. If there's like a club or an event, there's an event coming up that's a women's conference. And I was talking to them about DJing it. Wow, that's a perfect fit for me as a female to be there for a female event.
Right.
There's different situations, and it's just the preference of whose event it is. And I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. What's your opinion, Brian? What do you think most brides would choose? Or I shouldn't say most brides, but most couples. Because, I mean, back in the day, it was like, guys, speaker. Right. It was always that. Today, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I was just going to basically go there. I think, like, older generation, it's been so many men that's kind of like their mindset. I honestly, at least the couples I deal with, I don't even think they think twice about a man and a woman. I mean, professional women who actually DJ weddings kind of understand that, hey, like, just like Maria said, like, it is about the couple's day, and they're not going to try to upstage as a DJ the bride. I've even heard some women say that, hey, I kind of not dress down, but try to not like over the top dress so that way I'm not taking away from the bride, and because they get it, they understand that. And I think women who want to be successful, at least in the wedding space, they understand that concept, and they are respectful of that and understand. So my experience has been that it's more of a personality connection than it is even what you look like or whatever. I mean, looks do play a part. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you got to be presentable, but I don't think the male female thing, at least for the ones I've dealt with, haven't really ever expressed that.
And we know our friend Jasmine in Chicago is crushing it. She's like absolutely killing it with her DJ company, now killing it with her private space event venue. In Vegas, Jody Harris is killing it in the corporate and special event industry out there as well. Our friend Tara Feely's doing very, very well in New Jersey. Our friend Dana Solomon in Columbus is she just signed up for another. She's doing a European cruise touring with whatever cruise line she's on. So
we have a female on our staff, DJ in our Florida division, and I would put her against anybody. I think she's fantastic. She's very personal.
Now let me ask you a question though. You think it, but the question is she booked as much as the men with the same talent level? Well,
the issue there is that they don't, in my market at least, it's very destination based. They have us assign it. So there's not like we're going through our roster going, oh, he looks like the perfect fit. Nah, but I will say I've never had, we always tell them who their DJ is, and no one has in 2 years has said, can we switch to a guy? I really wasn't thinking of female. And she's African American on top of that. So I mean, there could be that as well, and we haven't felt that at all. Like either way,
you can't send her to Roseanne's birthday party.
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, at least from me, that hasn't been an issue for her, and she's happy with the amount of events she has, and feels good about where she's at.
Well, on the subject of lady DJs, I'm going to be seeing DJ Lady Styles at the end of June. She's doing her very first American appearance, and happens to be playing a club like 5 minutes from my house. So I'm actually pretty excited to see her spin for more than a 3-minute scratch session. But even there, if you guys are familiar with her, what does she have? Like over 1 million followers on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else. So, I mean, she's crushing it. Absolutely crushing it.
And we forgot one that's in the industry that's doing a lot too, Rachel Lynch. She just joined our chat on Facebook right now, and
awesome.
And she's, I mean, out of nowhere. I didn't know this person at all, and I just been seeing her pop up everywhere, and she's killing it.
That's great.
Doing stuff. So good for her.
That's awesome. Yeah, very good. So I don't see her. You know what? I think maybe my Facebook is frozen. I'll stick to chatting with people on YouTube right now. So and William says that racism is so 60s. I wish that was the case, but I still unfortunately feel like while we've come a tremendous way, we still have a long way to go. So we will see. But you know what? I was glad because I prepped Maria for our show yesterday, and I told her this is what we're talking about, and I don't want to know what you have to say until tomorrow. And so I'm glad as a human being that, you didn't have people, being inappropriate with you, and there is some dignity being a guy in the DJ business. So.
No mistake. There have been people that are inappropriate. That's not something that...
I was really drunk in Milwaukee. I apologize.
That's something that happens, and it's unfortunate, and it's not necessary. And what are you going to do about it, right? So that is there. I just, you don't talk about that. Why give power to something that's negative? Why not just move on and enhance your skill and go from there?
I agree. I totally agree. So, okay, so let's move on. So we know that one of the challenges, and you two probably know more than anybody, because you are constantly on the road. And this was one of Brian's topics that he shot me a note on. So Thomas Heath, who I think he shot a note, so I think he's watching, or I hope he is.
He is.
This past week, Thomas Heath made a comment about how he is essentially on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including on vacation with his family. And a couple of people said, no, you need to train your clients so that you can have your time with your family and such. And he's essentially said, I'm available to my clients 24/7, even on vacation. And so you two are constantly traveling, constantly on the go. And so the question being, and this Brian kind of said, let's expand it to, there's your time with the world, and then there's your personal time with you, and the person you love or you're dating or what have you. And, even on the simplest level, take away vacation. Like, there are times you go into a movie and within that hour and a half long movie, you're like getting a text or your email's blowing up and somebody needs to talk to you 24/7. So the question I have is, do you think that it is how do you guys balance letting your clients and potential clients know, I'm on the road, I will get back to you whenever? Are you doing autoresponders? Are you changing your voicemail every day to say, I'm going to be in Laos playing, the Rice Festival or whatever it might be? And it's not sexism or not racist. I'm just saying it's whatever. So
yeah,
what do you do?
Well, and I guess for context, it was the actual quote was, or the post. And I love Thomas. He's awesome. He's
absolutely.
And I love it because he's very similar to Mike Walter and some of the other folks in our industry who his posts just generate discussion. And I think it's like needed discussion too. It's good stuff. So he said, I'm on vacation and answering emails. If you're not, what's your excuse? And then hashtag smartphones, hashtag who does not work on weekends. And so the way I took it, which was just me, was it felt like he was saying you had to be answering your phones. And if you're not, or answering your emails, if you're not, then you're not doing it right. And that's not what he meant at all. Come to find out. And it took a little while going through, some comments to see that. So what he was saying was, he wants to do it. He wants to be available. Okay. And that's different to me than having to do it. Now, granted, when you're starting building your business, yes, you do need to be as available as you can be to book what you need to book and to, generate business. But hopefully the goal is that you're working your way towards having that balance. Or I think balance is a bad word. I'm not a fan of that word, but just get in a rhythm where you can have that downtime if you need it, and figure out that rhythm for yourself. And so now that I understand where he was going with it, for me, I'm fine with it. If someone wants to, your family understands, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you're on a vacation and they're cool with you operating that way and you want to do it that way, that's one thing. Okay. But if you feel like tethered, like you have to be on there, I mean, and it sucks because I feel like that's not probably the way most people want to naturally feel like they have to be, running their business.
Right.
So what do you think?
What do you think, Maria?
I'm actually an expert on the topic of workaholism.
Yeah.
I'm a
because you're a workaholic?
Recovered workaholic. Not only did I write a book on the topic that became an international bestseller last year, but we held a trial for me on a cruise ship. And not to like spoil the ending, but I may have been cleared of all charges. So I have been an expert at working way too much at all hours of the day for years. And what I found is that you need to create some boundaries, at least for me, for it to be healthier. And there's a way to work smarter, not harder. What it sounds to me like, what was mentioned in this post was, it sounds like his differentiator might be very high customer service. And if he's saying, hey, I'm going to be there for my customers. I actually met a DJ the other day that said, I love it when people request songs. I was like, what? Like, I never hear that from anybody else. I see people complaining all the time about people that are pestering you to play a song. You're going like 126 BPM. They're like, hey, play this. And it's like 80. And you're like, right? And so, I heard this guy, he's like, no, I love to play what they ask because I know that's going to get the response of the crowd and I want to give them that. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's your differentiator. I feel like sometimes requests are very random, or I'll try to play a request and it'll kill the mood and everyone clears the dance floor and you're like, no, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's saying customer service to him. He's going to respond day or night because that's important to him. And that sounds like a good business thing. Now, as for again, backing up Brian on this one, if you feel like you have to be always on the phone or computer, that might be a problem. But if you're just saying, hey, I want to be accessible to my clients because that's the value I provide, I think that might be okay. But I mean, I definitely have a lot of lines in my emails that say, my apologies for missing your message here, but I've been on the road. Well, I was on the road every day last year, right? So it's like, that's So I finally hired an assistant where I can have her go through email and respond to people and help with that. Because when you're in Thailand, when you're in India, sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't good. Sometimes the time zone's off and you just can't connect with people. So asking for help or having someone help with you with that can be really beneficial.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
I just experienced that. We had to punt because he didn't have a solid Wi-Fi. What, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
No, longer than that. It was April. So
Yeah. Yeah. I was in Europe. Yeah. Yep. No, totally. I think too, it's just from speaking from years of experience, not to kind of put my age out there, but I've just learned how to. I've been in a situation where I felt like I always had to be accessible and felt like I would lose my business if I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I learned through that it's actually healthier for me to recharge and literally, like, if I miss one job because of it, it's not going to break the business. Like, right. I'm honestly fine. And it was hard to like let go and let that happen. But I felt so much more refreshed when I knew I could do that. Now, there are, again, situations where, especially if you're a single op and you are by yourself and you have no one else, no employee to help you, clearly you have to, be around or put some kind of plan in place to be able to enjoy yourself. But like you, Maria, I feel like if your thing is like you want to be accessible, and I am to an extent as well, but I don't let it run my life. Like, I've definitely set up some guardrails for myself, because my wife would kill me if I was like on the, not paying attention to her on that time. Because for her, everyone's got different love languages and things like that. But for her, it's like quality time. So just knowing that I give her that is a respect to her. And if she saw me on my phone, when I'm literally saying like, listen, I'm going to spend this time with you, it would be frustrating for her. And so right. I've learned that, like, for her, that's an important thing. And so as hard as it is for me, because I am a workaholic and I'll work till 5 or 6 in the morning doing stuff, I just know when it's needs to be turned off, it needs to be turned off. And again, I'm not going to lose a huge part of the market share because I'm on vacation for 1 week. Now, somebody on Facebook, Steve Wells, says, when I'm away with my wife and I have our other DJs working, something always goes wrong. So yes, I'm on call 24/7. I get being on call and being available is different than actually physically working. Now, you might get a phone call and you have to take it, but that's different than what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about feeling like you're going to miss business because of the fact that, you feel like you have to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
No, I agree. In fact, it was funny. Sonny from Wedding Wire, though, did say that the average American, while awake, looks at their smartphone every 6 minutes. Like, they reach for their cell phone every 6 minutes. And then I just read an article about millennials that the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning is not brush their teeth, is not go to the bathroom. They reach for their phone, and the first thing they check is their social media, even before finding out if their mother called, even before finding out if they've got email. They need to know what happened while they were asleep. Like, they are addicted to social media. And even when I went to the barbershop today, I had to wait a while, and there were 4 people under, let's say, the age of 60. And I even just grilled them while I was waiting. And I said, okay, all 4 of you are on your phones. And they're like, yeah. I go, what are you looking at? The one guy goes, Twitter. How about you? Instagram. How about you? Facebook. And they weren't reading a book. They weren't, that's just who we are. Although, I don't know if you saw, and I saw it today, Facebook got bumped today. Facebook is now the number 4 most popular website in the United States. Reddit.com just dethroned them in the number 3 position, and they are now the 3rd most popular website in the United States. Now, I'm not a Reddit person. Are either one of you?
No, I know of it, but I don't check it at all.
Right.
I haven't been, but I once accidentally subscribed to them, and I found myself reading through some fascinating topics for at least a good month or 2. What I have noticed is that people that are Reddit people are like, they're very dedicated. Like, they're all about Reddit. There's some really great information on there.
Right. I'm not familiar. It's not one of my things. And I very much like when people suggest TV shows to me, I can't, guilty pleasure. I binge watched, I said I wouldn't do it, and I did it. I subscribed to YouTube Red, watched Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga, had it on in the background while working for whatever, 6 hours or whatever it was. And then, being your typical DJ, shot a note to YouTube canceling my subscription right away because I had the 30-day free trial, and I just had to see whether or not it was worth it. And truthfully, I just don't see anything on YouTube Red that I would do. I binge watched it, and that was that. So, but I don't need to add yet another thing. So I don't think I'm going to hit Reddit just because I'm already obsessed. Like, I'm a single guy. I sit at the bar, I sit at the counter at a diner, and I read my phone. Right. And I get all my news sources through Facebook. So it's just my thing. So that's it. So Thomas, thanks for giving us something to talk about. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And that's bringing us to our next topic, which was a social media bonanza, and was kind of a little bit of the whole Roseanne Barr thing too. So Byron Gunter, our bad boy of the mobile DJ industry, posted a picture that a DJ had posted on his Facebook page of him. He had set up a group crowd shot with the bride and groom in the middle. And then at one point he must have jumped into the shot to get the photographer to shoot one of him showing what he had created. And Byron Gunter said that anybody who did this in the DJ industry was a narcissistic, crazy, blah, blah, blah. And the interesting thing is he had some points. Like, the reality is, like, you wouldn't have seen the maitre d' jump into that shot, and you wouldn't have seen, like, the chef in the kitchen that's preparing the meal.
What about the valet guy? The valet guy?
I mean, so he has a point, but it got to the point where our friend Donnie Lewis, who filled in for you last week, went the rounds with him, and I mean, and it got Roseanne Barr ugly. Like, Byron didn't, as you know, Byron doesn't mince words, and so the F-bomb was dropped repeatedly. And I even said to him, like, why are you so angry about this? Like, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 3 + 1 = 4. If you're successful and they're successful, and that led him to believe that anybody that does this couldn't possibly be successful, and that they need to prove themselves, and they're narcissistic. And Donnie Lewis came back on and said, well, maybe if you had a better relationship with your clients, they'd invite you to jump into the picture. And I defended Byron because Byron's got over 500 positive 5-star reviews, but it got ugly, and then he eventually dropped it. So I'm not into having my picture taken. It's not my thing. So it's not something I would do. I do set up that crazy photo, like when people are singing along to the words, or I know I got a packed floor, I will direct them toward, I'll get a photographer on a chair, on the head table, or whatever it might be, and I'll direct them in that direction. And I think it makes for great photographs. I don't need to be in it. Your thoughts? We'll go with Maria first.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with jumping in one shot. Like, maybe it sounded like what happened is the photographer took a couple of shots and then they jumped in one at the end.
And that's the one he obviously posted on his social media.
Sure. Well, so if you're creating this environment, right, you're creating this music, and we all know that music, it brings back emotions. It helps people go back to a certain time. It creates memories. And if you're creating that moment, and the DJ, and people are going to be like, oh yeah, it was so fun. The DJ played such great music. I don't think it's wrong to jump in one shot. Now, if you're trying to jump in every shot, that could be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're like, well, I'm going to be in every shot and not leave one to just be the group by themselves, that could be a problem. But if you're just saying, hey, this is a great time, I just got everyone together, they just took like 5 shots, I'm going to jump in the last one, I don't see anything wrong with that, because again, you're there creating that ambiance. Is it a little narcissistic? Maybe. Is it wrong? Probably not. unless someone doesn't want you in the shot. Like if you refuse to leave the shot, that could be a problem, right?
I think it's narcissistic I think it's narcissistic if you're developing that shot for your own personal gain, where you know that shot's the shot you're going to specifically use each and every time to say, look at me, everybody likes me. That might be. But to have some creative shots from here or there from time to time, I think it's clever, it's creative, it's different. So that's all. I mean, it just depends. To me, I'm more about showing the results of my party than me being. I don't need to be the ringmaster of the circus and have my pictures all the time. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really something that everybody has their own style. Everyone does what they feel is going to make the best result for the party. Someone's other styles may not be mine, and vice versa. So, right. I mean, it's all, like you just said, Casey, it's all about the couple. If the couple is okay with it, then so be it. You know, there's a lot of things that I might do, but I'm always cognizant of, will this fit their vision of what they're wanting? And if it's not, then I'm not going to do it, you know, unless I feel like this is only going to enhance the event. And so I'll never forget, there was this one picture that one of our DJs took of a couple at a wedding with their phone, and what it was like of a big group shot. And what ended up happening, someone died after like a month or two later, and they wrote us a note as a DJ company and said, I'm so glad that so-and-so took a minute to take that picture, because that's the last physical picture that we have of so-and-so. And it was so moving to me that, like, we don't force it, but if it's there, the opportunity is there. Like, you never know what that is going to do. You know what I mean? Sure. You don't know if that is going to be someone's last picture. So having that, it could mean the world to someone. So anyway, just another way of looking at it, you know?
I think also there could be a situation where it's appropriate and other situations where it's not. So if it's like a easy go with the flow where people are like, hey, jump in, like it might be rude to be like, oh, you know, and just jump in. If it's not appropriate and it's like forced to jump in, then maybe some situations it's not appropriate.
Right.
So it might be spaces.
I'll put it this way. I've never done a stage shot ever. I've never felt the need, like it's going to break. And maybe I'm missing out. Maybe there's a possibility that by not doing it, I'm missing taking a party to another level, but I've never needed it. Do I feel like, or do I feel like it's going to make my show that much better? And for somebody else, it may totally work. It might be their thing, but for me, I can just use the music and other things to make the party just as well. So maybe it could be that as well, you know, that someone that needs that. It's like somebody who needs a way to get people on the dance floor, like maybe a little trick or an anniversary countdown or something like that, because maybe their skill level in just mixing isn't really to the par or whatever. That's their thing. And hopefully one day they'll get to that level or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that is the barometer for a great DJ, but whatever the case may be, whatever works for them should be fine. You know, I don't think that's why I love this industry, is because we all have different ways of doing things. And one way isn't, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, right? So I think that if somebody wants to take a picture, as long as it's not about, like you said, that narcissism stuff, then so be it. All good.
Right. And as long as we don't exclude Black people and women and post it on social media, we're all okay, right? Tying all of our stuff together, trying to bring it all around.
Full circle. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't quite work. So let's talk to some of the people that have jumped on, because we have a little bit of time and we haven't said hello to anybody. So Brian, you want to take YouTube or you want to take Facebook?
I'll take Facebook because I'm already kind of commenting on here, but
okay.
We got a lot of people, just people weighing in. Donnie Lewis, thank you for filling in for me last week. Sorry, I had a party. I couldn't be there. You did a great job, buddy. Freddie, nice to see you. Donnie, Jacqueline, Jeff is in the house. Wow, I haven't seen Jeff in a while. So thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of this.
Gotcha. And on YouTube, we've got William from WAB Mobile Entertainment, who's one of probably our biggest fans, actually. He's a loyal viewer, and we absolutely love you for it. John Sawyers, thanks for tuning in and saying hello. Reggie's in the house again. We love Reggie as well. Gene Neary from Midwest DJs Live. is he's on board as well. DJ Snoopy, who I think is new to us, said great information, guys. Gene Neary doesn't understand Reddit. Let's see. That's the long and the short of it all. DJ Snoopy kind of pointed out that isn't that branding, and I'm assuming he's talking about jumping into the picture and going from there. Snoopy, William said, Snoopy, maybe branding is something you are known for and you are recognized by that one thing. William said, we are all one race, the human race, which I totally agree with. And then Snoopy said, what if your Instagram page is full of pictures of you DJing? That's not being narcissistic. And then Gus Lawson just jumped on and said, hey, all. And I think Gus is a new face to me anyway. So we're excited to have you, Gus. So let's see. I'm trying to see if anybody's got any questions, and I'm going to do the same.
Yeah, not really.
No, lots of people chiming in, saying great stuff. William said that him and his significant other work together, so she knows when the phone rings, it's a client, that they're available all the time, so she's very understanding. Let's see. William and Reggie, I don't know. Oh, when Maria talked about taking requests, they said requests are important, and they both take them all the time, which is great. And then William had to make fun and wanted to know why I was going to a barbershop. You know, it takes a lot of work to look this good. No, I go once a week and I get an actual straight razor shave on the old noggin. So the bowling ball is clean and once a week, typically on Thursdays, so that I'm ready for the weekend.
Nice.
So that's what I've got. Anything by you?
No, people just saying hello. So it's not, I think this has been good. I mean, I think this has been some good topics that are topical, and hopefully we've kind of covered some things. I will, there's been one other topic I didn't even run through you with you, Casey, but I just saw the other day, Jason Jeni posted this, one of our other industry guys.
I know where you're going. Yeah.
With Vimeo. So Vimeo has started to pull any kind of video that has copyrighted music, and not only no, I'm sorry, they haven't pulled the videos. They've literally canceled people's accounts. And, and his account, which he has invested thousands and thousands of dollars, is gone.
Years and years of it. Totally
all that is gone. So DJs, if you aren't aware of that, be very careful with what you post as far as using, licensed music. It definitely could bite you. Any platform you put it on. So
and YouTube will just strip the music right out.
Yeah, they'll mute it or whatever.
I had made a montage for my ex-girlfriend and we posted it on there, and we went to go look at it once again, and the pictures were all there and it flowed, and the music was just totally stripped out of it. So
right.
Now that we're broken up, she probably thinks I did it on purpose, which was not the case. Not the case whatsoever. So, yeah, but copyright is definitely becoming a thing, even in the bridal show end. I have BMI ASCAP requesting payment because they're saying that technically my bridal shows are open to the public, and as such, I am required to pay BMI ASCAP. That weddings are a private event, school dances are a private event, nightclub owners pay BMI ASCAP, others do, but yeah, apparently they're even coming down on bridal show owners or wedding show producers, I should say, to making sure that that they're getting paid as well. So, yeah, it's been something that has been coming up topically with all of the other wedding show producers across the country. So, yeah, copyright is definitely becoming a more and more of a larger issue, and even in the karaoke world, as you know, Sound Choice essentially has encouraged DJs who are buying their libraries to let them know about other DJs that are doing karaoke illegally with ripped hard drives, and they're getting these DJs shut down. So copyright is the real deal. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even Promo Only's watermarking all of their songs, so
right,
they'll know what's what.
Right. Right.
So
If you're trying to take shortcuts, not that Jason was, I'm just saying like,
no, not at all.
Other people that might be doing it with that kind of stuff. It's never, it eventually it comes out and it's just never good. You could really be in a world of hurt. So best to go with music that you can get that's royalty free, because that way you're safe and never going to have to worry about that kind of a thing. So
I ran into one of those challenges at an event. I was DJing in India, and it was in Hyderabad, and I was told that I could not play any Bollywood music because they didn't have the license at the venue. And I was like, I can't play any Bollywood because I had a killer Bollywood set list. And every 2 to 3 minutes, I got a request for Bollywood. And I'm like, I've got such great Bollywood music, but I couldn't play it because of the venue. We didn't have the right license.
wow.
And yeah.
I
Struggles.
don't know anyone that's ever said I had a really great Bollywood set.
It's killer.
Never been in my world.
Yeah. I got a mix on my website, idjmm.com.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah,
Is
that's
J
actually,
Ho part of it, or is that cliche now?
What's that?
Is J Ho part of that whole thing?
I'm not following your joke.
The song J Ho from Slumdog Millionaire?
Oh, no, I don't believe that's in my mix. No.
I think that's like the celebration of Bollywood music. Like that's like the electric slide of it. I think that's when the one song that Bollywood went mainstream.
that one. And what's the other one? The Jay-Z, Moody and
That's
whatever.
an awesome song. That Jay-Z song. Yeah. I tried to do my market research the first time I went to India. I was in New Delhi. And so I had some local people that I was like, hey guys, what's hot here? Because I'm not quite sure. And I'm not sure what they're saying. Is this a good song? Is this not? So I had to get some local input for that.
Yeah.
You know what? And I wish we had more than 3 minutes, because now you just inspired me to, like, when you're literally in another country and you just said like you are trying to cater to that culture. Are you catering to that culture? And if so, how are you finding that out? Or are you Maria that's bringing the American music to wherever you're going to be?
This sounds like a topic for a whole other show. I might have to come back for.
Yeah. But we talk business. We don't talk music. So I'm sure that that somebody from Disc Jockey News will have you back on again. No question about it. But Michael Joseph talks about music, every Sunday? This sounds terrible.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? That works. Yeah. Wednesday too. So
well, the short answer is a variety of methods. So looking at Spotify, Googling what's hot, what's the top 40 in a certain country. So when I DJed in Singapore, I was like, what's the top 40 in Singapore? To have that on hand. Asking locals. I love doing that. Hey, what's hot in Portugal right now? I'm not sure. Hey, what's this song saying? I don't know. Is this appropriate? In Fiji, I found something really interesting where I was playing some really awesome newer songs, and the manager of this place in Nadi, Fiji, Ice Bar, it's the hottest club in Nadi. He's like, hey, kind of tapped on the window. I was going back and forth with the resident DJ, or passing it back and forth. He's like, hey, come chill, right? And we're talking, and he's like, hey, what you're playing is great, but that's not hot here yet. People haven't even heard those songs on the radio, so they don't know what it is. He's like, you should probably stick with more old school hip hop. I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't even occur to me. They hadn't heard some of those newer songs yet, so people weren't like jumping on them, right, on the dance floor. So another thing I like to do is check out venues a little bit right before, like the night before, the day before, kind of see what the other DJs are playing. So I think and Brian, you probably have all kinds of tricks up your sleeve too, that market research. How can you get that market research ahead of time?
Yeah. Another little trick is Shazam. You can actually Google Shazam in a certain country to see what people are Shazamming. And believe it or not, it's actually, at least my experience in the countries I've been in, American music definitely trumps most music that's out there, because it's just so widely accepted. There's definitely some local flair differences, obviously, especially the more remote you get. It's definitely more of a feel. But if you play mostly American music, you can probably get by 99% of the time with all of that. For my events that I do, it's a little bit different, because I don't play as many clubs. I do more private events where it's Americans going over to a place for a destination event, or a corporation going there. And so they want that familiar music that they know, but you do want to have the influence of the country you're in. So in bits and pieces. So for me, I do like to do the research. I'm doing one in Canada here in like another week. And so I'm already kind of looking to see like, how can I infuse some Canadian type of vibe there? And it may not even be like an actual song. It could be a sound bite. It could be a movie clip. It could be something like that. I don't video
Just
DJ.
play Justin Bieber. That's his country. That's his homeland.
Right. Or what was the it was like a Canadian, it wasn't the Canadian bobsled, because there was, I know the Jamaican one, but there's also one that was about a Canadian bobsled team too.
Not a clue.
So I've been looking like up all this Canadian research to try to find something that I can like pull in there that will be, fit that audience at whatever, and find some stuff. So Bryan Adams, he's an American artist, but from Canada. So like finding out these different people that are out there that are from these different places that you can kind of infuse in there. So
sure. Very good. Well, Maria, thank you for joining Brian and I. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. You are welcome back anytime you want to jump on.
Where do we find you on social?
So my DJ name, I just go by International DJ Maria Matarelli. You can find me at idjmm.com and then get my social media links from there.
Very good. What do you got coming up this week or soon, Brian?
So coming up, I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I'm doing a after party in New York on the 14th, which is next Thursday, I think. And then week from Thursday. So it'll be, I start at 10:30. So I will be on this show right beforehand from the club, actually. So I know I have an internet signal. And then basically 17th, I'll be in Canada for the Engage conference for 4 days. So I'll be out there in Banff. So it should be good.
Nice. Very good. Yeah. And we are less than 40 days away from the Marquee DJ and Photo Booth show. And like I say every week, folks, please get your passes because I need your money. And it's a great show. So I'm pretty stoked, especially if you're watching us from the Chicagoland area or Midwest. It's an easy ride in. If you are thinking about it, you can travel from anywhere to O'Hare, and we are just minutes away. And our agenda is online at marqueeshow.com. All of our videos are popping on all of our Facebook pages from all of our presenters. So, I hope that you guys will all join us. And then we will be back next Thursday. Topic to be determined. So once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Good night and God bless.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.